Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Hey guys, we're your hosts, Em and Jay, and today the two of us are talking about the latest trailer that was released for Disney's live-action Aladdin remake, along with analyzing these remakes in general. If you saw our previous video about Disney live-action remakes, then you know we're not really impressed with these movies. This video is basically a supplementary video to that one. It seems to us that Disney has figured out that they can make a lot of money by remaking their classic animated films in live-action. But it seems like these remakes don't have the same heart the originals did. It feels like they rely really heavily on nostalgia to get people to go to the theaters, without having a great understanding of what made these movies so loved in the first place. It seems with the new Aladdin trailer, Disney has been listening to some of the criticism they've been receiving. I don't know how they couldn't, honestly, with all the memes about the genie. This trailer definitely has more energy than what we've seen so far, with a lot of focus on the recognizable musical numbers. It looks like they're working to improve the CGI for the genie, since this trailer is definitely an improvement from the teaser trailer we saw, so hopefully they'll have it figured out by the time the movie is released. It still has this uncanny aspect to it, but I don't think there's anything they can really do to make it as charming as the original. Disney knew what they were doing this time around. This trailer leaned heavily into the nostalgia, showcasing some of the more memorable parts of the movie, like A Whole New World, redone in live action. But it's kind of ironic that the marketing team is pushing it this way, when if you actually read statements from the people behind the scenes about Aladdin, they sound like they don't want it to be like the original. To be fair, Mena Massoud, the actor playing Aladdin, said that for A Whole New World, they were trying to stay true to the original, which we appreciate. We just wish that they had treated the entire film with that much care. Our biggest concern is what they've done with Jasmine's character, since it seems they don't have a lot of nice things to say about the original portrayal of Jasmine, and since we haven't seen any of these changes in the actual trailers and only heard about them through interviews, and most people are gonna find out about this movie through the trailers, so we really want to actually see what they've done to Jasmine. Naomi Scott, the actress playing Princess Jasmine in the remake, told The Hollywood Reporter, "Everyone involved in this project weren't afraid to really just rip things down and start again, especially the Princess Jasmine character, because it's so important to get that right." It seems obvious that they have several problems with the original portrayal of Jasmine, which we feel that if you go back and watch the original, those problems just aren't there. And it makes us worry that they're trying to fix something that wasn't broken in the first place. Producer Dan Lin talks about how there's a new song for Jasmine in the remake, which we're actually really interested in hearing, but he says it's almost like an anthem for the empowered princess. It's really about her strength, her independence, how she really wants to be Sultan, which sounds a little bit like, oh, I just can't wait to be king from The Lion King. They also insist that Jasmine's entire characterization revolved around finding an attractive man, and she had no goal beyond that, completely misrepresenting Jasmine altogether. It's almost like they didn't even see the movie. And Jasmine had 3 movies and a cartoon series with a lot of adventures in it that always portrayed Jasmine as a very strong-willed and independent character. In the original movie, she suggests that she doesn't want to be a princess anymore because she finds the lifestyle too controlling, where she's being forced to marry against her will under the law. And that's just the start of it. She's never been outside the palace, and she's never had a real friend. The closest friend she's ever had is Raja, her tiger. She feels like she's viewed as a prize to be won, rather than a person. And what she really wants is to have the freedom to make her own choices and be valued as the person that she is, not just for her title. What about the movie made them think that she was just one thing? It really feels like they're stereotyping Jasmine based on their preconceived notions of Disney princesses, that they're boy-crazy damsels in distress who are just waiting around for a man to show up and fix all their problems. She wasn't looking for love, but on the way she happened to find Aladdin, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But instead of seeing her for who she is, they instead judge her and insist that they have to fix her, which is ironic considering the fact that in the original all she wanted was her freedom and to be recognized for her agency. We saw this kind of meddling with Belle from the Beauty and the Beast remake. For that movie, they basically changed the fundamentals of Belle's character. Originally, Belle was always sweet and kind. She had a lot of patience and she never stooped down to anyone else's level because she never needed to. But Emma Watson had a a lot of creative influence on the movie. Unfortunately, Watson clearly doesn't understand Beauty and the Beast or the characters involved in it, and now it sounds like they're going to do the same thing to Jasmine with Naomi Scott. A clear example of this is the scene in the movies where Belle and Gaston meet on the street. In the original, Belle is pleasant from the beginning, and Gaston is very rude. He takes her book from her, taunts her about it, and then throws it in the mud.
Hello, Belle.
Bonjour, Gaston. Gaston, may I have my book, please?
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Belle, it's about time you got your head out of those books and paid attention to more important things. Like me.
In the remake, she's standoffish from the beginning.
Good morning, Belle. Wonderful book you have there.
Have you read it?
Well, not that one, but you know, books. For your dinner table. Shall I join you this evening?
Sorry, not this evening.
Busy?
No.
Gaston actually compliments her book. Despite the fact that he doesn't personally care for reading, he knows that she does and he's trying to compliment her. It's understandable that she's not attracted to him, but there wasn't really a good reason for her to act so snobbish. She doesn't return his greeting. She acts like the flowers he's giving her are poison ivy, and then when he asks her on a date, she turns him down in a really rude manner, despite the fact that nothing about this interaction has actually been unreasonable. That's not Belle's character at all. Emma Watson's playing her like some kind of mean girl. In the remake, the townspeople have such a disdain for Belle that they attack her and destroy her property just because she was trying to teach another girl how to read. But in the original, it was actually Gaston who represented that bigotry. He claims that the townspeople talk about it, but they never address it directly. It could be that he's just forcing his own views onto the rest of society, or maybe he's just trying to shame Belle into dating him. But the townspeople didn't actually dislike Belle in the original. They just thought she was a little weird. But they talk about how special she is and how quirky but likable she is. But in the remake, they're glaring at her and giving her dirty looks all throughout the song. Not to mention actually attacking her, while it's Gaston who's trying to reach out. All of these changes were made in order to make Belle appear more feminist and modern, despite the fact that it takes place in 18th century France. But Emma Watson was pretty adamant about it, having a lot of input on the way Belle would act and even what she wore. But in doing so, they threw out everything that made the original what it was, including some of Belle's strongest traits. Because of these changes, Gaston doesn't even really feel like a villain anymore. He's definitely shallow and kind of a jerk, but not really evil. Sure, the original was over the top and cartoony, but it was a cartoon. You could really feel the negativity coming off this character, and to contrast that, there was a positivity about Belle, a warmth to her, but that's gone in the remake because they wanted to make her more empowered. We're just really hoping that they don't make the same mistake with Jasmine. It's obvious they don't understand Princess Jasmine's goals, but they don't seem to understand the rest of her character either. For example, they're adding a new character called Dahlia, who is Jasmine's handmaiden, and Naomi Scott talks a lot about this character and how important she is to Jasmine. Scott says, "To me, it would be doing Jasmine a disservice if she didn't have a relationship that felt like two girls really connecting. If there was a moment in this movie where girls were watching and being like, oh my gosh, when I'm in that situation, I need my best friend, and squeeze her and trying not to laugh." All those little moments, it was so important to have that. And towards the end of the quote, she says, "You can't just have a tiger as much as you love Raja." The two of us don't disagree with that. I mean, we're twin sisters and best friends, and we kind of just lucked out in that way. The problem is that Jasmine's loneliness was a big part of her character arc. It was a big motivator for why she left the palace. She really did only have Raja. The truth is, she wanted a friend much more than any want to get married. She wasn't against getting married, she just didn't want to be forced into it. It just so happened that she found a friend and a romantic interest in Aladdin. Her loneliness is part of what drove her to run away from the palace. And honestly, now that she has this passion to be Sultan and a strong support system at home, I don't really see the need for her to run away anymore. Scott also says that Dahlia is as important to Jasmine as the genie is to Aladdin, so this is going to be a very important character in the narrative, at least as far as Jasmine is concerned. But we haven't seen her in the trailers. It seems that they want their movie to be different from the original. They want to fix the problems that they believed the original had, so maybe the trailer should reflect that, instead of showing us all the nostalgic things we remember to try to get us to buy tickets. While Jasmine is our main concern, we're still not impressed with Jafar. His acting is too subtle, and he doesn't match the charisma and presence of the original animated movie. Also, they're not bringing Gilbert Gottfried back. He is Iago. I'm expecting that this movie will do well, but I wish the promotional material would reflect what the movie actually is, and not rely so heavily on nostalgia to get people to go to the theaters. But that's just our opinion. Are you worried about the way they're handling Jasmine's character, along with the rest of the movie, or are you optimistic about it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video and you want to see more content from us, you can subscribe to this channel if you want to see more. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone. Bye guys.